Hi, Julie. Nice to see you again. We keep meeting like this.
I know.
I just interviewed Julie for my podcast, Moms Don't Have Time to Read Books, and now I wanted to do a little snippet of it because her book is so good. So here she is.
I'm so happy to be here. It's a little early on the West Coast now that we're all quarantined and way off our sleeping schedules, but
So tell people watching what your book is about.
okay. The last flight here, the last flight. It'll be backwards, I think, for the viewing audience. The last flight is a story of two women who are each desperate to escape their lives for very different reasons. Claire and Eva. They meet at the airport in New York and make a last minute kind of desperate decision to trade plane tickets. Claire traveling to Oakland as Eva, and Eva traveling to Oakland or to Puerto Rico as Claire. And they both kind of believe that that's how they're going to get away from their lives and nobody will be able to find them. They won't be able to trace them. They think it's sort of like their untraceable get out of their life card. So anyway, when Claire lands in Oakland, she discovers that the plane to Puerto Rico carrying Eva crashed and she's stuck in Oakland and she has no identity other than Eva's. She has no money. She has no anything. So she decides to kind of hide out at Eva's house and kind of gather herself. But as she gets there, she realizes that Eva wasn't quite honest with what she told Claire and who she was and what she was running from. And there are a few people in Eva's life who have noticed that Eva has gone missing. So it's sort of a dual timeline where we follow Claire forward into, in present time, and we flip back and kind of get to know Eva and what she was running from and what she was struggling from, culminating in that final moment where Claire and Eva meet at the airport.
And the beginning of your book, which we spoke about, was what it feels like to be kind of trapped in a marriage where the other one person has a lot more of the power, financial or otherwise, and somebody is sort of the victim of all the rage and all of it. So I think that's a really interesting thing. I've been reading about how, sorry if the sound is a little weird, I've been reading about the rise of sort of domestic abuse during this virus, and like how women are trying to call in for help and not being able to be helped in any way with everything going on. So I don't know, it made me think of your book.
Definitely. It's a hard thing that's very worrisome, I think. I've been thinking a lot about it too. When I set out to write it, Claire is married to a man who's much beloved, a political dynasty second only to the Kennedys. The world loves her husband Rory, but they don't know the true side of him. And so one of the things that I struggled with in trying to write a woman who is both abused and yet she has a sense of agency and a sense of power. And it was really important to me to write female characters who are strong, who are not who may be victims of circumstance, but not see themselves as victims. You know what I'm saying? I didn't want to write either of them as unreliable, even though they maybe made bad choices or maybe didn't think things through all the way. I definitely wanted two strong women, two smart women to be on stage because I think it's so important that those are the stories we tell about women right now. And those are the women that we want to spend time with right now, I think.
Definitely. And Julie, I just wanted to read this one quote. You said, "The death of any dream deserves to be mourned, all its intricate facets touched one last time." And I felt like that was also just so timely because here we are, so many people, big dreams, little dreams, events, book launches, big career things, personal things. Tell me more about how you felt at that time, or what made you write that?
Well, I think in the book, that was the moment that Claire was kind of realizing that she was going to have to leave everything behind, everything that she cared about. She was literally going to escape with the clothes on her back, and she couldn't even take family mementos or treasures to remember her mother and sister who had both passed away many years ago. She couldn't even take those things with her because she couldn't risk her husband finding out what she was planning to do. And so you know, in the book, she takes that one final walk through her house in the middle of the night to try to say goodbye to these things that she will have to leave behind. And I think that, you know, in our current situation, I think, you know, yeah, we're leaving behind things that maybe we thought would happen a certain way, or, you know, that would roll out a certain way. But, you know, there's also a chance to reframe it, you know, with any, you know, it's a two-sided coin with that, you know, the one side, it's everything you're losing, but on the other side, it's what do you have to gain from it too. It just depends on how you choose to frame it, I think. I think there's always opportunity in hardship. And I think that it's hard to step back and take a look at what that might be. And maybe it's just a teeny tiny little sliver and you have to work really, really hard to see it, but it is there. And the more you can kind of crack open your vision and take a look at it, the bigger the space you create for it to fill.
I love that. I feel like we all need to be looking for our slivers right now, right? Yeah. What's everybody's sliver going to be? You also had one other quote I wanted to read. The gifts of a crisis are there if you know to look for them. And when you let go of the outcome you want, you often get the outcome you need. More on the same theme that we just discussed, but tell me a little. That came more from your personal life, but
it did. I mean, it came from being diagnosed with breast cancer in 2015 and realizing that I had to make my peace with whatever that outcome was going to be, which at the time, you know, was very scary, and not knowing. There was a period of about 2 weeks where I had been diagnosed, but I didn't know how serious it was. I didn't know what the outcome would be. I'm a single mom of 2 boys. At the time, they were 9 and 6, so littles, and trying to kind of maneuver around all of the things that I was scared about in order to kind of plant my flag in the places, the landmarks of what I thought were important and the things that I needed to keep the same for myself and for my kids. And it turned out, you know, looking back on it, even when I was going through it, it felt like a very transformative period in my life. And I don't think that I would wish it away. Like if I could wave a magic wand and say, you know, I wish that I had not gone through cancer, I'm not sure I would make that wish, because it really gave me a perspective that really changed how I look at everything, big and small.
Wow. I mean, it takes somebody who like has that sense of wisdom to be able to get through a situation like that and see only the good and not even, you know, wish for something else to have happened. That's pretty impressive. I'm going to take that. I'm going to take a page from your book today when I go through my day-to-day actions.
I think give yourself permission to feel more than one thing at once. And so I think that you can be appreciative for the challenges that you face and to kind of embrace them. And because what choice do you have? You know, it is what it is. And this is what you're dealing with in this moment. So like, shut up, buttercup, and like, get on with it. But I also think that it's okay to be scared and upset, and you know, you have to allow yourself the space to feel those things. And nobody expects optimism all the time. Nobody expects, you know, for you to always be looking at the bright side, and I think people like that can be super annoying. So you know, I think it's okay to let yourself have a moment, but give yourself a time frame to do it. Give yourself 5 minutes, and then it's time to, you know, pick it up again, and you know, take a deep breath and remind yourself that right now in this moment in time, you're okay. Everything's fine.
I love that. I think I'm going to take those 5 minutes later today, because I think I need like a time to just like get it all out and then like come out again and be a good mom and whatever else. Because when I don't, it all seeps into everything, right? So
yeah, really is.
So thank you for the advice. I really take that to heart. Well, thank you so much for coming on Instagram Live and for coming on Moms Don't Have Time to Read books and all the rest. So thanks, Julie.
Yeah, thanks, Zibby.
Okay, thanks. Bye.